はるか昔、この国に輪廻の獣が現れた。
Welcome, greetings, Beyond Voodoo. Come on in, sit on down. Today we are talking about Beast of Reincarnation, this brand new game releasing in 2026, whose trailer just dropped a couple days ago. Now you may be asking yourself, Stern, why are we talking about this game? What does it have to do with Pokemon? What does it have to do with anything going on in this channel? Well, right there. Don't that look familiar? That's Gamefreak, the development studio that's been working with Pokemon for the past 30 years in helping us release Pokemon games. You may also know them from Mendel Palace, a game released back in 1989, Pulseman, Harmonite, Little Town Hero, and yes, of course, Pokemon. All of the Pokemon games have been released under Gamefreak, so it's really weird and interesting to see them taking such a different route with this new game. So far from what we've seen, it has this intense and dark storyline that focuses on the complexities between technology and nature, and it has almost a Souls-like appearance to it. And given that we don't have a ton of knowledge yet on the entire structure or story of this game, we have to wonder, what can we do with this? Well, today we're going to be doing one thing and one thing specifically. That is, turning characters that we've seen in the trailer into Pokemon. Let's get started. Hi, I'm the Thesterninator, but my friends call me Stern. Welcome to the channel. While you're here, don't forget to drop down below, like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff that makes me and YouTube happy, and let's hop right into the video. First off, we don't know a ton about this game yet. Apart from the trailer, not a lot of information has been spilled to the public. So we're kind of going in looking and deconstructing some of the ideas that we can see in the initial launch footage. So I went in, looked at the comparison between nature and technology that we see in this story structure, which, if I might say, is one of my favorite story elements, that whole concept of nature and technology and how they can work together and how they don't. And we're using that to really inform us for these first few Pokemon designs. Starting off, I wanted something cute, something friendly, something that really captured that naturalistic vibe. I looked at Pokemon like Oddish or Smoliv for inspiration on how to create these cute little round nuggets of goodness. So we went in and did that. I wanted to make something that felt a little bit different, so I added this little leaf to the top, this little swirl. For those of you who don't know, I have a garden myself and I grow stuff pretty regularly, and one of my favorite stages of plant growth is when that shell first starts to split open and you can see that little curl of a vine start to work its way out. So I wanted to incorporate that into the design here. For the color, I wanted to go with something that was a reddish brown, really to get that nature vibe. I didn't want to go anything crazy, anything psychedelic, so I went with something that felt very grounded for this look. And boy, am I happy that I did, because I feel like it really informs the decisions and directions that we get to go with the rest of this 3-stage line. So this is Bedell, the Sprout Pokemon. They hop about the forest floor seeking areas with optimal sunlight. Once this place is found, they will plant themselves, burying their bodies so that only their leaf remains visible. They can rest in this single spot without food or water for months or even years, drinking in nutrition solely from the soil. Those who find good sunlight but bad soil will shrivel up and die. It's said that their taste is sweet with a little bit of a bitter note at the end. As this Pokemon evolved, I wanted to make something that felt much more like the flowery passion that we see in a lot of the characters in this trailer. Specifically, I looked at these flowers right here that we see kind of about during combat. They're huge and crazy, and I dig them, and I wanted to incorporate this in some way. While it may not be an enemy as far as we know it in the game, these flowers feel like they are an iconic point and presence within the entire gameplay of the trailer. So I wanted to create something that really touched base with that look. And I feel like doing so, we got a couple different areas of inspiration, especially knowing where I wanted to go with the last stage of this design. The middle stage felt very much like the transition period between this plant-based seed rock thing and what we are eventually going to get, which what we get is one of my favorites of this video, if not one of my favorites that I've had for a good while. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about this design. I also love the character creation throughout the game that we see. A lot of the different enemies and monsters have this naturalistic vibe to them, laid over an animal type of mechanism. So really fun, really triggered my brain on what we could do here, and I wanted to capture that. So I wanted a plant that felt like it was taking on some more animalistic qualities. And here we have it. This is Dandel, the Weedling Pokemon. They pull themselves up from the soil and wander about, taking in the sights of the wild Pokemon. Many trainers will attempt to befriend them, thinking they're cute and friendly. This often turns negative, however, once they open their heads and showcase their rows and rows of razor-sharp teeth. Next up is the big boy. Take a look at this guy. He's huge, he's massive. He definitely doesn't remind me of Petaldragon in any way from Digimon Frontiers. Very different character, but keeping that in mind, I wanted to go a very different route with the design. I decided to put this Pokemon up on 2 legs, but with the ability to kind of fall down on 4 and become just a little bit more menacing. I also played into the idea of that split mouth, that Demogorgon-esque design, and I dig it. I love it. It is so different from what we're used to seeing in these type of Pokemon. And so adding on the draconic typing to this design felt like it really inspired where I wanted to go. I knew from the beginning where I wanted this thing to end up, what I wanted it to look like, and kind of the base structure, but getting to actually go in, sketch it out, and start playing with the refining of that look definitely gave me a lot more joy since I was able to see this thing come to fruition. I dig it, I love it, and while it's not a one-to-one comparison from the character that it's supposed to be referencing, I feel like it gets a lot of that menacing quality as well as draws in a lot of the areas that we're looking at with this game. Again, we don't know a ton about this game yet. We don't know hardly anything outside of the trailer, but that gives us a lot of room to play around, a lot of room to kind of figure out what we want to do with these designs. And who knows, we may revisit this after the game comes out and I've done a full playthrough and learn, man, I was completely wrong on everything. And so then we get to go in and redesign, restructure, and recontextualize all of the aspects that we previously worked on. It sounds like a chore, but it's one of my favorite parts of doing these videos, is kind of speculating what stuff is, finding out where we were right, finding out where we were wrong, and then getting to go back and do it again. If you love talking about design elements, whether that be Pokemon or Digimon or Transformers or Five Nights at Freddy's, make sure to join our Discord down below. We have a great community who loves to talk about this type of stuff, and since we're launching our Thesterninator series this summer over the next 2 months, we're gonna have a lot of really fun stuff coming and community engagement going, and I'd love for you to be there. So check it out when you get the chance. It's down in the description. Buquel, the dragon plant Pokemon. This Pokemon stomps about and clears wide areas so that it can find peace and rest in well-lit spots. They love lowland areas beneath the cool of cliff sides and can be very particular where they choose to rest. Once they find a good spot, however, they can be difficult to uproot and will fight to the bitter end against any who seek to remove them. It's said that the petals and fruits born of their bodies have an exceptionally different taste than what one may be accustomed to, but still delicious in any case. In the trailer, we get to see what appears to be some sort of companion creature in this white wolf with these vines growing about the back end of its body. And I mean, come on, that's a Pokemon. The second that I watched this trailer, I saw that thing, realized I'll have to turn that into a Pokemon, and thought, well, this is gonna be easy. That thing's already a Pokemon, essentially. So going in, I got to play with the structure and kind of refine into the Pokemon style what this design would look like. And once going through that process, getting to make some changes and amplitudes of where different aspects of the design are gonna be. And it was so much fun. I love drawing canine creatures, quadrupeds, all that type of deal. And so getting to go in and kind of restructure the design of this character was beyond fun. It didn't feel like a chore, it didn't feel like work, it felt like revisiting an old friend. Just drawing a Pokemon for the sake of drawing Pokemon, but having this blueprint that we were able to follow. And I'm not saying that Gamefreak can only make one design, on the contrary, the designs throughout all of their games are so different and refined to the game that they belong to. It just feels like this is different and familiar at the same time. So creating this Pokemon was a joy, it was fun, and it felt like the most simplistic way of enjoying the craft that you guys are currently watching. Okametsuru. The name actually comes from Japanese for wolf and vine, the bushel Pokemon. This Pokemon is quite loyal to its trainer. Once they feel comfortable and have befriended a trainer long enough, they can grow berries along their vine-like tails. When they're angered, however, they will grow sharp thorns and stickers. It's said that the fruit is sweeter than those found in the wild, and is a good indicator of the Pokemon's health and happiness. But finally, we move on to the last Pokemon of this video, the Beast of Reincarnation itself. I am pumped to find out everything that we can about this design, this creature. We first get to see it at the beginning of the trailer as it stomps on a robotic body, which I think encapsulates the entire idea that we're going to be introduced to in this game. As we see it throughout the trailer, we see it in combat with our protagonist. We see it stomping around. This enemy, this antagonist of the story, as far as we've been led to believe, that carries with it such a beauty, such an innate, wonderful, and complex design. It feels like we shouldn't be fighting this thing. Its whole concept is bringing about nature, but with that nature brought back, we see a lot of corruption. We see the idea that it corrupts and changes things within and around it. And so it creates this story of trying to get back what was lost while also understanding that what was lost may not have been 100% perfect in the first place. This is all speculation, but based on what we're seeing in the trailer, based on some of the highlights that we've watched, because I've watched this thing 3, 4, 5 times now, it feels like there is such a deep cutting story here and a message to be told to the audience. So we can't help but infer what it is that we're seeing. And as more trailers and information roll out for this game, I'm a person who's trying to figure out if I want to be spoiled by that information or if I want to not view it, black it out completely, and be surprised when this game does drop. Which of those two people are you? Let me know down in the comments. Are you a person who loves to get spoiled prior to a game so that you can go in educated and knowing where the Easter eggs and inferences are? Or are you the type of person who says, I don't want to know anything going in, let me be surprised, Game Freak, I want to have the full experience? Let me know down below. I'm normally the type who researches and spoils everything for myself, but I don't know, this feels like it's a very different case and one that I'm excited to see what happens with it. So this is Jinseishi, the reincarnation Pokemon. Its name is actually derived from the Japanese words for life and death. There's always one in existence, and always has been. As it dies, it remains become fertilizer, and the egg housed within its body plants itself in the ground. It's said that if it were ever to be captured, the ground where its trainer walks would become bountiful and grow evergreen, making forests out of every step that the trainer would make. None of this has been proven as this theory, since no one has been able to actually capture this Pokemon, with few even being able to see it. This Pokemon is distrusting of humans, preferring to live amongst nature. However, it can corrupt life forms around it into more natural states. Makes me wonder if maybe if we continue this series as we get more information, we'll have some sort of new mega evolution type mechanic in this series. Let me know down in the comments. I'm asking you guys a lot, but one thing that I always love to do with these videos is let me know down below what abilities you think these Pokemon should have. I think you have a little bit of a challenge since we don't know anything about these animals, creatures, beasts, but I believe in you. So who is your favorite and who are you adding onto the team? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're there, don't forget to hop into our Discord and check out our other links there. If you want to be a supporter of the channel like these lovely people we're going to talk about in just a sec, you can find those links for Patreon and YouTube membership as well. Some of our higher tier Patreons are going to be Mario Panita, Dan Hassel, Chompy Catchan, Kobo4231, Elandriel, Sky, Yuja Sakaki, Drake Null, Jeremy Sunday, Justin Grenier, Siren Shadows, Kaylin Cat, Styx TV, Dan Bush, and our newest members, Topaz and Corey Cooks. Thank you guys so much for the support. It truly does mean the most. And if you want to support and get some videos early, you can become a YouTube member for just $3 a month. Some of our YouTube members, as they currently stand, are going to be Moxie, Echo Arashi, Reggie Hustle Jr., Liam Wood, Linksia, RJZ Ravenmore, Somni Stars, Kaylin Cat, Crimbo McSwizzle, and welcome Siren Shadows, our newest member over on the YouTube side. But with all that said, it sounds like you know where to find me, and I'll catch you in the next one.